So the project is called the Autazes Potash Project. It's located in the northwest part of Brazil, only about 8 kilometers away from the Madeira River, and it is fully permitted for construction. So all of the technical work, all of the environmental work, the indigenous consultations, the public hearings are all done, and we're ready to start building.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Matt Simpson. He is the CEO of Brazil Potash. And Matt, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Gracie, good to see you also.
Yeah, excited to learn a little bit more about what's been going on within the company. Tell me a bit about Brazil Potash.
Brazil is one of the world's largest net exporters of agricultural goods, about $167 billion a year. But the country is heavily exposed because it imports 98% of its potash, which is one of the three main nutrients used to grow food, when potentially the second biggest basin in the world is sitting in their backyard being developed by Brazil Potash. So simply because we're in Brazil and everyone else is located about 20,000 kilometers away, our cost to extract, process, and deliver is less than just the transportation cost of everyone else.
Yeah. Is that going to be the focus? Is the main market is keeping it in Brazil? Or are you looking at other markets as well when you get to that point?
The plan is to sell 100% domestically in Brazil. Brazil today is the world's largest importer of potash. They consume about 14 million tons a year. And our plan is to supply about 2.4 million tons, so about 17% of Brazil's current consumption.
Okay, let's talk about the project itself. Tell me the name of it and tell me what stage you're at and the process to get there.
So the project is called the Autazes Potash Project. It's located in the northwest part of Brazil, only about 8 kilometers away from the Madeira River, and it is fully permitted for construction. So all of the technical work, all of the environmental work, the indigenous consultations, the public hearings are all done, and we're ready to start building.
Yeah, and you just got a key contract, a vegetation part that allows you to get to that next stage. Tell me about that part about it and how construction is going to work.
So this is all part of the start of the construction of the project. So we have now started to do some of the vegetation suppression work. We're now starting to level some of the ground where the construction will occur. The plan is to build the project largely in a modular fashion. So we're quite lucky that the project is located right beside a major river. So we don't have constraints like you would normally see with heights, weights, and widths on the size of equipment that can be brought to site. So we can pre-assemble very large modules literally anywhere in the world, including Manaus, which is a city about 1.7 million people, only 160 kilometers away, that has massive warehouses. So we can build these components of the processing plant, take them to site, almost like pre-assembled Lego blocks, and then put them together. So the advantage of that, Steve, is we don't have the risks that you'd normally have with weather impacting workers' productivity or even the quality of their work.
Yeah. Talk to me about the financing of all this and how this is going to work. And are you looking at taking sort of offtake agreements as the construction phase is happening, or has that already been done?
We already have one offtake agreement with a group called Amagi. They're one of the biggest soybean producers in the world. They generate about 10 billion in revenue annually. This contract is for 550,000 tons of our 2.4 million for a 15 to 17 year period at market price. We also recently announced a memorandum of understanding with a Swiss-based trader called Keytrade for another 1 million tons. And there's a third group that we're in discussions with. These contracts are important, Steve, because we're also simultaneously speaking to a number of export credit agencies, banks, and international finance institutes for debt. And those debt providers want to know who's going to be buying your product, what are the prices, and are they credible counterparties? So it's a key piece of our construction financing.
Absolutely. Matt, talk to me a little bit about some of the investors that you have. I know you have some people who are really backing the company, and also your management team as well as a lot of experience in getting to this particular point and then moving forward.
So we have a number of large natural resources funds as our investors. Some of the biggest investors right now are CD Capital out of the United Kingdom, the Sentient Group out of Australia, and part of our IPO, we welcomed Franco-Nevada, the biggest royalty and streaming provider in the world, who came in with an anchor equity investment of $10 million after doing extensive due diligence from both the technical, social, and economic standpoint on the project. As far as the management team goes, we have an absolute icon in the industry as our executive chairman, a gentleman named Mayo Schmidt. And for people that haven't heard Mayo's name before, Mayo is the architect of a company called Viterra. that was originally the Saskatchewan Wheat Pool. This was a cooperative that was struggling, that Mayo completely restructured, grew to over 44 countries, and ultimately sold that company to Glencore for 7.6 billion. Literally the next day, he joined the board of directors of a company called Agrium that at the time was merging with Potash Corp to form what's now called Nutrien, the largest fertilizer producer in the world. He was the executive chairman and then CEO of Nutrien. And during that period, he even IPO'd Hydro One here in Ontario.
Wow. That's some pretty good experience for sure. Last question, Matt, and that is just talk to me about timelines here. Best case scenario, when you hope to be able to get to a point where you start utilizing those offtake agreements and actually moving stuff along.
So as we mentioned, we've already started some of the early works for construction of the project. The plan is to move into full-scale production towards the end of this year. Really, the
Wow.
focus now is to bring in an anchor equity investor. That'll likely happen at the asset level in Brazil, as opposed to diluting our shareholders at the traded company in the New York Stock Exchange. The total construction for the project, we expect to be a little over 4 years to complete. And the aim is to then be up and running, producing that 2.4 million tons of potash.
Very exciting times for sure, and lots of work ahead, Matt. Thanks so much. Great to catch up with you, and continued success. Okay.
Great to see you again, Steve. Thank you.
All right, Matt Simpson, the CEO of Brazil Potash.